In one of my last YouTube videos, I showed you my trip on Amtrak's Eastbound California Zephyr heading to Denver, Colorado. This was my first trip on the California Zephyr as well as my mom's, and we were taking this train to Denver, Colorado to see some new scenery and railroads that we haven't been to before. The food on the train was excellent, especially the Amtrak signature flat iron steak that I had for my first night on the train for dinner, as you see in the video you're watching.
Okay, so is that a thumb up, Eric? Let's see the thumb
Definitely
up.
a thumbs up.
However, on our trip, we experienced multiple service disruptions, and this resulted in our train arriving in Denver at 3:45 a.m., 9 hours late. We were able to see some of the beautiful scenery of Utah and Ruby Canyon of Colorado, but that means we missed our chance of seeing the Rocky Mountains. Fortunately, though, I will be able to see some of the Rockies in Colorado on our way back. During our time in Denver, we got to go experience the places we wanted to go to, including the Georgetown Loop Railroad and the Fort Collins Municipal Trolley. After 4 days in Denver, it was time to head back home on the Westbound California Zephyr. Hello guys, it's me, Eric the Train Fan 148, and I am back on Amtrak's California Zephyr, and we're heading back home to California. Sorry if there was a lack of video of me boarding. I just had a bunch of stuff in my hands and I couldn't videotape at the same time. But I am on board the train and we are in the dining car getting ready to have breakfast. So on this trip back home, we're going to be going over the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I didn't get the chance to do that. Actually, in other words, I missed the chance to do it since I'm sure you remember in the last video, our train ended up arriving in Denver really late. But this time our train is on time and we're going to be going through the Rocky Mountains, through Ruby Canyon, through Book Cliffs of Utah, and through Nevada, and through the same places we went to on our way up here. I really enjoyed our trip in Denver, but it's always good to head back home, and it's good to be home. Oh, thank you, sir. That was the dining car attendant, and he gave me some orange juice for breakfast. All right, guys, right there is Denver Union Station. And we also have a special unique locomotive pulling our train, one of the P42s, but a unique one. I will show you that when we have a fresh air break. All right, guys, I will see you when we have breakfast or when the train gets rolling. Soon, breakfast arrived. All right, guys, it's time for breakfast, and we're getting ready to depart Denver, and I'm having French toast and bacon. Oh my god. Oh my god. This stuff is so good. Definitely recommend this breakfast to anyone who wants to travel on Amtrak. Definitely recommend it. Yes, I will say the French toast and bacon was excellent. Soon, we departed Denver Union Station on time and we started our trip back home. Once we were out of Denver, we started heading towards the Rocky Mountains. We started to climb the front range portion, and this will take our train towards the mountains, gaining 4,000 feet in elevation. After breakfast, we returned to our room as we started climbing the grade. We could even see the skyline of Denver from in the background. Alright guys, we are now in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. We had just climbed the front range version, and we are climbing to the mountains. We're eventually going to gain 9,241 feet. Man. I see a bunch of pine trees right here, and we're going to be going through several tunnels. And the biggest tunnel we're going to go through is Moffat Tunnel. It's 6 miles long, and we're going to be in that tunnel for 10 minutes. So, sit back and relax, and as I show you some of the parts of the Rocky Mountains. We soon started following the Boulder River Creek. For our train trip, we were in a roomette in the Transdorm sleeping car. This is a different kind of sleeping car that is different to the ones that are the regular sleeping cars. There are 3 kinds of bedrooms on the train: roomettes, family bedrooms, and Superliner deluxe bedrooms. Roomettes have 2-sided chairs that actually fold into a bed, and there's even a bunk bed that even pulls down. The family bedrooms are located on the lower level of the sleeping cars and have 4 beds that convert into bunk beds as well. The deluxe bedroom is also similar to the family bedroom, although this one has 2 beds. It's with the lower one being a sofa, just like the family bedroom, that also converts into a bed. And unlike the family bedroom, they also have their own sink and shower and toilet in the room.
soon, we reached the highest point of our trip, and we soon crossed the Continental Divide. After the Continental Divide came Moffat Tunnel. This is the longest tunnel on the California Zephyr's route, and is also the second largest tunnel on the Amtrak system behind the Cascades Tunnel in Washington State.
Alright guys, we just reached 9,241 feet, the highest point of our route on the Zephyr, and we're going to be crossing through the Continental Divide through Moffat Tunnel, and there's St. James Peak with the snowy mountains. That's the mountains we're going to be passing through. Now this tunnel is 6 miles long, and our train takes about 10 minutes to travel through this tunnel. And this is the second longest tunnel on the Amtrak route behind the Cascades Tunnel used in Washington. And here we go. See when we get out of the tunnel. After exiting Moffat Tunnel, we passed through the Winter Park Ski Resort, and we soon arrived at the Fraser Winter Park Station, where we would take our first fresh air break on the trip. Alright guys, we are at Winter Park Ski Resort after we crossed through the Rocky Mountains, and look what locomotive's leading our train. Phase 4 Genesis Locomotive 184. Wow. Now, this is one of Amtrak's heritage trains that was built for the 40th anniversary that was painted for Amtrak's 40th anniversary. And this is one of the paint that Amtrak had this is one of the paint schemes Amtrak had whenever some of Amtrak's Genesis locomotives were back in the late 90s and early 2000s. 184 has been wearing this paint scheme ever since then, even though Amtrak is no longer 40 years old. It's now 51, and it's wearing this paint scheme ever since. And here's our second right? And also, driving the train, I just talked with the engineer. His name is Ollie Ramirez. He's a friend of YouTuber Mike Jensen 80701, and he's also riding with another engineer, Rick, aka the Holy Grail. Alright guys. Oh, and also, this right here is the car that I'm staying in. Car number 39018. And we are in room 21, which is on the other side of the car. I just saw Ollie getting a cup of coffee, and we're just and so here's the rest of the train right here. As I showed you before in the last video I took of the California Zephyr, these cars right here are the sleeping cars. Down there is the dining car called the Sights and Lounge car. Oh man, I'm really loving this. It's great to see the scenery that I missed out on seeing last time we were here because our train was late. 10:05. We're gonna depart in a few minutes. All right, we're gonna be departing, guys, in a few minutes. So I will see you when we travel through the canyons of Colorado. After the fresh air break was done, we continued onward towards the Rocky Mountains, but before that, we had to make a stop in Granby. Also, we headed off to the lounge car as passengers were scrambling to get seats for the views of the Rockies. We soon stopped in Granby, and we headed off towards the Rockies. The first canyon we went through was Byers Canyon, and we were also following the Colorado River, which we would follow all the way to Utah. Alrighty guys, we had just gone through Byers Canyon and we're now in the Rocky Mountains through Gore Canyon. We are now in the lounge car, and as you can see right here, there's a lot of passengers that have taken seats for the ride ahead. And there's the Colorado River right here. Our next stop after this will be in the vicinity of Glenwood Springs, and we will be stopped there for a fresh air break, which will be 2 hours. Also, for viewers around here, this is an area where the cell phone reception is really bad. bad. There's actually we're actually not going to have any reception traveling through this area. Yeah, but it will only be for 2 hours. All right. Well, anyways, guys, sit back and relax as we enjoy the ride through Gore Canyon and on to Glenwood Springs.
Solid Zephyr. Duck meat.
All right, guys. We're now in the Colorado River. We just left the Rockies, and it's lunchtime. I got the savory chili on a baked potato with cheddar cheese, bacon, and sour cream. Yes.
So thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs up?
2 thumbs up.
Okay.
Definitely recommend this to anyone who wants to travel on Amtrak.
A really lovely trip was to go on the Alaska Railway from Anchorage to Fairbanks, to go on the Gold Dome. We did it in summer.
I just think it'd be so too cold in the weather. I don't like cold for myself.
We did it in June.
Beautiful, yeah.
Amazing. It cost more to do the Gold Dome, but it is worth it.
Yeah.
It is the most amazing ride.
We upgraded from Beacher Flats. We got on the train and sat there and looked around and we thought, maybe we can upgrade to the Gold Dome. They'll let you do that if they're opening, but you can't always do that.
Fortunately, they were, and it's well-bladed.
So Gold Dome is,
You get up, you're into the dome car.
that's what I was,
You have all your drinks, all your meals. Your meals are on a white tablecloth, china,
Nice.
proper view for meals.
So what train is it Amtrak?
No, Alaska Railways.
Alaska Railway. Okay. I'll have to look into that. 'Cause that sounds
Were you saying?
yeah.
Were you saying did you have to go like somewhere in the snow in Alaska?
No, on this trip, on the train trip we did. Yeah, when you see snow, but it's not.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say my mom probably isn't that much a fan of snow, but she does think it's pretty. In fact, speaking of which, 3 years ago we got to go to Big Bear, and there was a lot of snow. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty. Yes, Mom. We know. I just said that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We live in Denver, so we
Right, so
see a lot of snow.
Yeah, that's because of how high the elevation is.
So we went to Fort Collins. The cute, like I could mentally see myself.
All right, guys.
living
I will
there.
see you.
The cutest
Guys,
places.
I'm gonna continue having lunch. We were just having a conversation with a few seatmates, and I'll see you soon.
Fort Collins isn't small.
All right, guys. Now here's for another new dish I found on Amtrak. This is the blueberry cheesecake. Go ahead, Mom. Have a slice.
It's very good. No pictures of me.
Nope, they're right.
Madden 44, Madden 44.
Madden, that's my daughter's name.
Shanice 42, Shanice 42. Gibbs 42, Gibbs 42.
42.
Have your table waiting for you in the diner.
All right, guys. We're gonna be continuing on to Glenwood Springs, and we'll be on our way to Grand Junction. So,
He's documenting his trip here on video.
yeah, it's okay.
Who's not videoing you?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, she's just talking about our seatmates. All right. See you soon, guys. Sure enough, we soon arrived in Glenwood Springs. This is where we would take our next fresh air break. During our stop, I decided to walk to the front of the train so that I could show my mom 184. And we even took pictures of ourselves in front of the engine. and the entire train. After Glenwood Springs, we continued following the Colorado River to Grand Junction. Back in our room, we relaxed and watched a movie as we watched the Colorado countryside slip by. Soon we arrived in Grand Junction, Colorado. This would be our next fresh air break, and this would be where the next crew change would take place. During our stop in Grand Junction, we were informed by the train crew that we would be held up here because of track crews working on the tracks for possible sun kings as a result of the hot weather. This gave me a chance to explore part of the station and the parking lot. Soon we left Grand Junction 20 minutes behind schedule, and we continued along the Colorado River, and we soon reached Ruby Canyon. All right, guys, it has been a while since I've taken a video. I am back now. We just stopped in Glenwood Springs and Grand Junction, Colorado. We are running about 25 minutes late because we were held up because of intense heat. We were stopped because of the possibility of crews checking the tracks for the potential rail benting or sun kink, which happens when the hot weather can bend the rails on the tracks. And we also had to wait for our freight train, and now we're heading towards Utah, but we're heading through Ruby Canyon along the Colorado River, which is our last canyon we'll pass through in Colorado.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. This message is coming from the diner. At this time, I'm calling all 515 dinner reservations to the diner. At this time, please wait at the double doors if you see by an Amtrak employee. Again, I'm calling all 515, all 515. Please make your way to the door. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I just heard that because we were traveling through the track areas where workmen were inspecting the tracks for sun kings. Right now we are traveling at 15 miles per hour restricted speed, and we will be doing this for the next 2.5 miles, or in other words 10 minutes. This unfortunately is going to add a little time to our delay. My guess is that we're probably going to arrive in Green River about maybe 30-40 minutes behind schedule. Well, maybe something like that. That's just my guess. But we're still seeing the beautiful shores of the beautiful streams of the Colorado River and Ruby Canyon. And soon we'll be crossing over into Utah.
Looks like there was some kind of insect that was flying alongside the train. No, this is actually similar to the same kind of perspective that I saw Ruby King when we were on the eastbound Zephyr. Although that time our train was running really, really late, but this time our train is not running that late. Although unfortunately, I have some news: our eastbound train counterpart is actually experiencing the same kinds of delay that our train had when we took it to Denver. Oh boy, and we're probably gonna meet it in Utah as well. Alright, soon. Alright, so now that once we clear the once we are clear of the working area, we will be going back up to track speed and we'll be in Utah soon. And soon I'm gonna be heading off to dinner, and I'm gonna be dining myself because my mom is still a little full after lunch and she's not really that hungry. She's just taking a rest. Alright, so I'll see you in Utah. All right, guys, we are gonna enter Utah. We soon said goodbye to the Colorado River, and we soon started traveling through the deserts and plains of Utah, where there were several canyons to check out. This also included the beautiful Buck Cliffs, which was near Green River. We soon passed through this little town called Thompson Springs, Utah. Here's a bit of trivia for you. Thompson Springs was originally a stop served by the California Zephyr when it shared the route with two other Amtrak trains, the Pioneer and the Desert Wind, that ran from Salt Lake City, Utah to both Los Angeles and Portland, Oregon, respectively. However, when both trains were discontinued in 1987, the station in Thompson Springs closed and was replaced with Green River, and the station was demolished in 2016. We were soon passing through Buck Cliffs, and I went to another one of the sleeping cars so I can get a good view of the cliffs. Really a nice view during the evening. Such a tranquility. After passing through Buck Cliffs, it was time for dinner. I was going to eat by myself since my mom was full from lunch. I was seated with a retired teacher named Jan at the table, and we had a new Amtrak menu. For dinner, I had the rigatoni meal with cheesecake. It was the same one I had from lunch today. After dinner, we continued cruising through Utah and evening settled in. Soon, it was time to get ready for bed as we neared Salt Lake City. Alright guys, I'm back again. Sorry it's been a while. I just been up and I just watched a movie. And I've just been enjoying. For dinner I had the rigatoni meal. It's one of the new meals that's interested on a new menu Amtrak introduced. It was really good. And we're getting close to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's been a fantastic trip.
and I'm getting ready for our night on the train. And tomorrow we're going to be in Nevada, and I'm going to have breakfast, and we'll be in California. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you in the morning. We're going to stop in Salt Lake City for a servicing, and then we're going to continue onward. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys. We are now in it's morning time, and we are in Nevada right now. Yeah, we're just outside the border from Salt Lake City. You may find this surprising, but we are actually stopping here because of a disabled freight train. So it's just like what happened last time on our trip to Denver. Well, at least I checked the time, and our estimated time of arrival in Emeryville is going to be at around at least 10 p.m. So I won't be that worried about it. But I hope we have are shorter than this, because at least this one won't be as bad as what happened on the eastbound trip. So I just woke up, and I'm gonna get ready for the day. After a refreshing shower, I went off to the dining car for breakfast, and my mom soon joined me. Alright, guys, it's time for breakfast. I've got my breakfast of scrambled eggs with vegetables, potatoes, a biscuit, and bacon. Oh, and guys, look what shirt I'm wearing. The Georgetown Loop shirt. It does. Really good. After breakfast, the freight train that was holding us up came through, but then we had to wait 2 more hours for a relief crew that came from Winnemucca to take our train onwards. All right, guys, after waiting for seemed like ages, we are now back on our way again. Our replacement crew's got on board, and we are continuing onwards. However, unfortunately, we may end up arriving in Emeryville around midnight or something, maybe around 1 a.m. But the crew is doing their best they can to get us there, just like last time. So we're gonna be heading off to lunch soon, and we'll soon be in Elko. Right now, we're cruising through the Nevada deserts, and we'll be off in Elko, Winnemucca, and then Reno. But unfortunately, during lunch, we had to stop again to let for the eastbound California Zephyr that the freight train was also holding up to pass. The eastbound Zephyr we met was exactly the same train set that took us to Denver with the same locomotives. After that, we were able to continue our journey. Despite the delays, I was able to see some scenery of Utah that I wasn't expecting I was going to see. Hey, Mom, does this kind of remind you of the horseshoe curve that's in near San Luis Obispo? Yeah.
Pretty cool. You actually see it come to the road.
Yeah, that's because of how long our train is. It's 818 feet.
Wow, yeah.
Unfortunately, the delays did not end there. Near Elko, we had to stop for yet another crew change to take place, and this one lasted for an hour. We were starting to get really bored and frustrated with these delays, and also, we would also end up arriving at Sacramento around the same time that we arrived in Denver on our eastbound trip. We were soon back on our way, and we also headed off to the dining car. Now, there was a shortage of food that they had, so we ended up having sloppy joes and rice for dinner. It wasn't all that bad, but it was still good nonetheless. And soon we arrived in Elko, where we took a very long fresh air break.
All right, guys, we have made it after finally what seemed like forever or ages. We have finally arrived in Elko. Oh, man. So I actually realized that our estimated time of arrival will be actually early tomorrow morning. So that means we get an extra night on this train. And also for dinner tonight, I actually had, since they didn't have enough food, they just gave us sloppy joes with rice. It was actually pretty good, although I feel like it could have been interesting if they had made something out of a garlic herb cod. But finally, it feels good to get off the train and stretch my legs. Man, that feels good. Oh, and also it's a little cold out here. It's a good thing. Thinking we won't be stopping here long. All right, guys, I'll see you when we get back on board.
Yep, we need that long fresh air break because this was our only stop we would be making for this day during the daytime hours, and we really need a long fresh air break after that, all those delays. Soon we were back on our way, and we were soon accelerating at 79 miles per hour through the plains of Nevada, heading towards Winnemucca. After relaxing in the lounge car for a little while, it was time for me to head back to my room and get ready for the night. Our estimated time of arrival in Sacramento was due after 6 a.m. That means we would arrive at Sacramento very late, but the good thing is we would get an extra night on the train. In fact, arriving in Sacramento during the early morning hours is a lot better than sleeping during the dark morning hours.
All right, guys, it is now nighttime and we are cruising through western Nevada. We just left Winnemucca and we're heading towards Reno. Our estimated time of arrival in Emeryville is going to be a little before 8 a.m. Well, it's been a pleasant trip on board the California Zephyr, and I'm just glad we're going to be in Emeryville by tomorrow morning. All right, guys, I'll see you. It's time for me to get to bed, and I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning, guys. We're still on the California Zephyr, and I hate to say this, but unfortunately, we're still in Colfax, and unfortunately, we missed our train connection with one of our trains that was going to take us back home. But I got an idea that can sort us all out. We're gonna get on a different Amtrak train that will take us to Bakersfield, and then get on a bus to Lancaster and take a Metrolink to Los Angeles, and then get on an Amtrak Surfliner that will take us back to Irvine. Well, not a happy solution, but not a bad one. All right, well, I'll see you guys. But guess what, guys? We're gonna go through some of the sites again, and we're gonna go through Roseville and Sacramento, and we're gonna get off at Martinez. All right. Well, I'll see you guys soon.
For breakfast, I had scrambled eggs, potatoes, oatmeal, and strawberry yogurt, and it was really good. On the announcement, we heard that since some of the passengers missed the Coast Starlight that would take them to Los Angeles, they were offered a hotel and wait for tomorrow morning. But however, that didn't do us any good. So Mom and I decided to get off at Sacramento, and we would go to Sacramento Airport to get a rental car, and she would drive us back home. Soon, we arrived at the Sacramento Valley Station, bringing our trip on the California Zephyr to an end.
All right, guys, we've actually decided to get off in Sacramento, so we're going to take a car back home. And, well, we enjoyed our trip on the Zephyr despite our delay. All right, guys, we are made it to the Sacramento Valley Station, and unfortunately, me and my mom decided to get off here, so we're going to be taking a lift to the Sacramento airport to get a lift so we can get around a car and we can drive back home. And there's the California Zephyr departing Sacramento, heading off to its, getting ready to go to its final destination, Emeryville. Oh, that was just the horn telling for passengers it's time to get back on board. And then after they were aboard, the train will continue. All right, guys, there's Amtrak's California Zephyr leaving in Sacramento, continuing onward to Emeryville. All right, guys, we are now in our Uber, and we're taking us to Sacramento Airport, and there's the California Zephyr that is actually still stopped at the station, but probably waiting for another train to clear the way, and then it will continue onward to Emeryville. Man, it has been a fantastic trip on the Zephyr despite the delay we had. All right, guys, well, thank you for watching this video. All right, sorry about that. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content and for another adventures like this one. All right, guys, I'm Eric the Train Fan 148 signing off, and until next time, goodbye.